Hey, it's me, the DBB, and I'm just here to say Happy New Year. This is by far my favorite holiday. And the reason for that is I just feel like collectively, as a whole, humanity is all synced up at the same time, and we are all doing the same thing. We're all saying goodbye to things of the past, things that are no longer serving us, old ways, bad habits, kicking things that we don't want in our lives anymore, and looking forward at the same time, knowing that we want better for ourselves, wanting to grow, wanting to change, wanting more good out of life, right? Everyone's doing it at the same time. And I think it's really beautiful. And it's just my favorite time of year. And so every year I have traditions that I do, and now I try to teach them to the kids as they're getting older. And so I thought today could be all about how to bring in the new year properly, or at least KK style, like how I like to do it, and things that have always made a difference for me. Choosing a word of the year has always been one of my favorite things to do. It's just a word that speaks to me that I want to embody how my year goes. And I want to be able to look back on December 31st, 2026 and say that that word was a part of my year and that I lived it out in that way. I've done things like joy, I've done peace, I've done intentional, different words every year, right? Content. This year, I was having a hard time deciding how to sum up what I want out of this year in one word. And I have had a lot of changes this year, a lot of changes. I've had four different jobs, same company, but four, actually, maybe even five different jobs in the same company, two different dealerships. I have had a lot of change in my personal life. I've had a lot of change mentally, emotionally, like just stuff that's changed for me, lots of change in my family life. Like there's just been a lot of like shifting going on in 2025. And I think something because of that and all the chaos, I feel that things slipped through the cracks. Things that mattered were slipping away. And, I've looked like we all have probably in the last 24 hours, I've looked back at how I feel my year went. And I do feel, despite a lot of the changes feeling negative at some point or another, I do feel really good about my 2025. I did a lot of things I wanted to do. In fact, I'm going to show you my vision board from last year here in a minute and show you it all happened. And it's funny because I put it away, and this happens a lot. Like I make the boards, then I put them away, or I put them somewhere and then they go missing, or a kid gets them and then I find them. And it's cool because they all come to fruition, whether I'm looking at them every day or not. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, I just look back and think, did I do the things that I wanted to do this year? And I would say a lot of the answers are yes. But again, there's things like DBB, right? Delicate Bad Bitch. I had really big goals and visions this time last year for, and my life changed. Right when I was getting this started, my life took a change. And in the chaos, I think things that you think are going to be relevant in your life kind of fall in the cracks. And like I've always said about this, it's a passion project. This is for me and for hopefully helping other people if I can. But it doesn't pay me. And so I had to put focus on the things that pay me and all the transitions that I was making. And so this fell in the cracks a little bit, right? So I can look back at that and be like, okay, this year I want, to be better with DBB and to be more consistent with it. And anyway, so I was thinking about my family life. I was thinking about DBB. I was thinking about work. I was thinking about my fitness. If you guys follow my personal account, then you know that I've been very, very disciplined with my body lately and focused on working out and eating right and very fixated on like that's what I want right now. Like I made a promise to myself a couple podcasts ago, and that podcast changed everything for me in the last 3 months. It was a very, very defining moment podcast for me. And I hope it was for other people too, because that putting it in the perspective of keeping promises to myself and not letting myself down, like I wouldn't let my sister or my kids or my mom down, like putting it in that perspective changed everything for me. And so I've been very, very focused on those things. But in every single area of my life, from personal to financial to side business, passion project, working out, work, my kids, one word I feel is what I need in my 2026. And that word is disciplined. And so this year, I want to be disciplined in every area. I want to be disciplined with my finances. I want to start saving and investing and being better for the kids, because whether I like it or not, my oldest is going to be graduating high school in 5 years, and that's going to happen really quick. And right behind her, every other year, there's another one graduating, graduating, graduating. And that means cars, college, proms, sports. Like, it's only going to keep getting more busy and more chaotic and more big things all at once with all my kids. And so I need to start preparing for that. So I want to be disciplined with my finances. I want to be disciplined with my time, where I spend it, who I spend it with, and how I spend it on things like this, instead of being like, oh man, I really want to do a podcast, but man, dinner sounds nice with my friends. Okay, bye. I want to be more disciplined on, if I say I'm doing this, I'm doing this, whether something fun comes up or not. Like, this is a commitment. I want to be disciplined about it. I want to be better about how I discipline my family. I think after getting divorced, especially, it's hard because you don't want to hurt your kids any more than they've already been hurt going through everything we went through. And so I would say that discipline is something that I feel like I've done really well. Gentle parenting and natural consequences. But I will also say I now have boys that are getting older, and I think I'm going to have to change it up a little bit with how I think we just need structure. It's not about how I discipline them, but I want them to be disciplined. Like, I want them to make their beds. I want them to, do chores and have structure at home, not just come home, lay on the couch and watch TV and go to bed, right? Like, I want discipline in my home. I want discipline at work. I want to be really disciplined with how I spend my time when I'm at work, and continue with my body goals and my eating goals. And anyway, relationships, like if I want to have romantic relationships, I want to be disciplined in my boundaries and how I show up if I choose to date this year, which we'll find out, might be on the list. But I want to be disciplined with what I allow into my life and who I allow into my life and how I show up and how I allow them to treat me. And disciplined is my word of the year. And I think it's a great word. It took me a lot of time and thinking and sifting through different ideas, but that is the word that I want to summarize my year. And so I would encourage everybody watching this, pick a word of the year. And in the words of my youngest son, he always says, I'll see it when I know it, which is super cute because he was said that when he was 5, but he always says, I'll see it when I know it. And so whenever you are looking for something, just keep in mind, you'll see it when you know it. Just find a word that really, it'll hit you. When you know it's the right word, it'll hit you. But find a word for your year. That's one tradition that I will always do. And I think it's good. It's a good thing. And then come up with like a mantra with it. Like, I'm going to sit down probably tonight or tomorrow, because I've done a lot of stuff already, like vision boards and goals and everything, but I'm going to come up with like a mantra, like discipline, like what it means, like what I want it to be. But I want it to be like a very nice, like put together mantra, like to describe what I really see it being for my life this year. So I'd encourage that too. The next thing is one of my favorite things, and that's vision boards. This is my vision board from last year. And I'm trying to see if we can see it. If I hold it like this, I think we can. And it's funny because I made this at a girls' night and we just had magazines, right? So it's like, again, you'll see it when you know it. And we're just flipping through the magazines. When I see something, I'm like, that has to be on my board, right? And last year was a lot of words. Like, using the magazines, there were words that just kept popping out at me, some pictures, but mainly words that were all just like hitting me. And so that's a lot of what this is, and I can explain it to you, but I made it and then I hung it in my room, and it's moved from my nightstand to my dresser to my nightstand, and then it fell behind my nightstand, it fell behind my dresser, like it's a janky piece of paper, like, board, whatever. So it's definitely lived its life this year and traveled, and sometimes I forget about it and sometimes I want it right in front of my face. But throughout all of that, I haven't looked at this in probably a month or two, minimally. And I thought today, yesterday when I was going to go make my new vision board, I was like, I better go see how I did on last year's. Because the cool thing about these is even if you do them and you say it out loud and you think about it enough, sometimes it just happens because you put it out there and because your brain subconsciously knows what you wanted to do this year, right? And I've had some weird, crazy things happen when I do this, which I can talk about in a minute. But this year, for example, I really didn't look at it much in the last few months. I've been busy, and like I said, life kind of grabs you and runs. So what I had last year was DBB was like my big goal. Like I wanted to launch it, which the DBB anniversary is in a couple weeks. So I'll probably do something fun to celebrate that. But DBB, I wanted to announce this. I wanted to make this a big part of my year, which I feel I did, not as much as I wanted to, but I did a lot with it that I'm proud of. All of this just was DBB, right? Taking risks. That was me. I had quit my job, actually. I don't know if I ever shared that, but I quit my job to do DBB. And then life circumstances and some people talked me into coming back at a different location for a different position. And, you know, here I am doing marketing and loving it now. But all that to say, risk taker I had on here because I was taking a risk. I was leaving a really, really good 6-figure job because I wanted time and because I wanted happiness and joy. And I didn't have any anymore. And I was ready to be done. And so risk taker was for that. Experience was actually, I think that was my word of the year last year. My sister and I were just talking about it. And I'm like, I can't remember what my word was last year. But last year was such a rough beginning of the year after my dad's surgery and then quitting my job and all the things and starting this. I can't remember my word. But I think it was experience. Like I wanted to be, it was either intentional or experience, but I wanted to make sure that I had experiences this year. Everything I did, I made sure it was for the experience. I wanted adventure. I wanted experience. I wanted to take risks. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to live out loud. And maybe that was because after dad's surgery, maybe I just felt like I needed to live my life because you never know what's going to happen. Maybe I just needed a break from the job. Maybe it was other personal life things that were going on. There was a lot going on in my life this time last year that was painful for me. And so I think I really just wanted to grow myself and like be super focused on me and my life and making it as beautiful and joyful as I possibly could. And so on the experience, I feel I did a great job doing that this year. Everywhere I went, I would say, I'm pretty sure that was my word of the year because I'd say my word of the year is experience. I'm 99% sure my word was experience. And I don't know why I keep questioning it, but I think it was because I would go around and be like, my word is experience. The theme is experience. Like I kept saying that as experiences. And I did great with that. Making an impact on people, I really wanted to do this year. That's up for debate. If I've made an impact, I'm so glad. And if not, I know that I tried doing this. Time. My dad gave me a watch a couple years ago, and it's really special to me because he wrote something with it about time. And so I put this watch, it kind of looks like mine, on here, and I wanted it to symbolize how important and special time is and how time passes. And, you know, no matter how hard or how good the time is, it's going to pass. And so to keep that in mind. I had joy on here, clean living, getting healthy, which I did, strength, persistence, all words that I feel definitely were a part of my year. Love, happy, trusting myself, like all things like learning to trust myself. I've always had issues like I talked about on that podcast about keeping promises. Like I think I taught my nervous system that I am not to be trusted in a lot of things in my life. And so I've been really working on trusting myself and learning to trust my gut and my instincts, and that, yeah, I had that on there. Self-love, like loving who I see in the mirror, is something I really wanted to focus on this year. And I do think I've gotten to a really good point where I am pretty happy with myself. I have my days, but I finally just love me for who I am, whether other people do or not. I'm pretty content. Over here, I had vacations I wanted to take. And it's funny because I hopped a plane and went to Montana for less than 48 hours last weekend. And it was funny because I forgot that I put that on there. And I squeezed it in at the last second. I also went to the beach, which I have here, beach. So I made that happen. I went to Mexico. And then Build Your Life, that's with my kids. So the hummingbird is a tattoo I have on my arm. And I found that in a magazine and put Build Your Life because I wanted to build my life with my kids more this year. And I feel going to Disney, which is another thing I did, vacation with the kids and building our life. We went to Disney World, had a great time. The only one I didn't make was Alaska, which was talked about a lot and actually saved in my cart a lot, but I could not make that one happen. But pretty good so far. And then down here I have McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy, because who wouldn't want him on their board? Because I did want to open myself up last year to the potential of finding love. And every time I talk about it, I laugh because I don't know if that's on the cards for me again or not. But it was a thought. It was the first time in a while that I have considered putting myself out there. And I did, in fact, date more this year than I have the entirety of my single life. A lot of them were just first dates, and that's it. And I practiced. I told myself it was about practice and doing the experience, the dating experience, like meeting somebody new, trying the apps, doing the things. I hate it here. It's not for me. I'd rather just be single. I think I'm just chilling. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I tried. So he's down here and I might not have found him, but I did try. And I'm proud of myself for that. And then lastly, I wanted to play more piano and music, like get better at music. And this is my happy place, even though I can't sing very good and I only know some guitar chords, and piano, I know chords, but I'm not great at it. It still is the place that I feel the most at peace and the most joy. And so I wanted to make sure that was included in my year. And so it's fun to look back today and see this and be like, okay, I think I did pretty good. Like, I knew what I wanted when the year started, even though it's just cutting pieces out of a magazine that spoke to me. But I feel like December 31st, 2024, KK is proud of this. And so I would encourage you guys to do something like that. And it's a fun project. It's a fun project with kids too. Like, if you have kids, even if they're little, like Witten did one yesterday, my youngest, and he wrote down that he wants $100 this year. And we all look at him like, wow, Witten, that's awesome. We're like, do you want anything else? Like, could you dream bigger? Like, is there anything else? And he's like, nope. And he ran away. We're like, okay, we keep going. And then he runs back. He's like, wait. And we're like, oh, he thought of something. And he grabs it and he just drew another zero onto the end. So from 100 to 1,000. And we're like, all right, well, I guess he dreamed bigger. Like, that's great. But he had fun coloring it and writing his name on it and whatever. So, you know, it's still teaching him a habit, right? And then Beckham put on there, I think he wants to swim more. And I think he put like make another friend or something. I don't know. His was cute. And then, of course, Boston and Hadley go ham on it with me. And we sit there for hours just cutting and pasting and talking about what we want in words and whatever. And so vision boards are really fun. And they're just creative. For the creative minds, it's fun. And then, you know, for the other side of the brain, there's other cool things. Like, I used to do something called My 75, right? Where you get this blank poster board and you get like 75 sticky notes. And this can be with your spouse or by yourself. I did it with my spouse when I was married. That was a slur, with my spouse when I was married. And you put 75 sticky notes on a poster board, and every single one of them has something you want to accomplish. And it can be anything like sleep past 2. I just want to sleep past 2 one day, or take a vacation, or play in the snow, or make homemade cookies. Like, it can just be little things. It can be the smallest thing. Like, I just want to watch a movie alone, go to the movies by myself. Like, just these little things you want to accomplish throughout the year. Or it can be, I want to go to Mexico, or I want to save $5,000, or whatever it is. But every sticky note has something on it. And it's crazy because at first it's like, man, 75 things? I don't know how to come up with that many things. I don't know if there's 75 things I want. And then once you start, it just starts pouring out of you. Like, you just start going and going and filling it in, filling it in. And that one's really fun and interactive. And you could do it as a family too. But when you accomplish the goal, you take the sticky note off. So there's a blank space of a goal you accomplished. And it's like I said, interactive. Like, all right, we're taking the sticky note off. We did it. We baked homemade cookies today. I went to a movie by myself today. We went on the vacation. We take it off. We take it off. We take it off. And then at the end of the year, you'll kind of see how many things you accomplished by the end of the year. I would recommend keeping those sticky notes so you remember what they said, a little box or something. But That one's also really fun. But moral of the story is there's so many things that you can do. The last thing I did last night, actually, before I went to bed, is after I chose my word for the year, I got a notebook and I just started writing out areas of my life. And like I put family and then little subcategories under the word family. Like, what do I want to be more disciplined about with my family this year? And I just wrote it out. So like my umbrella word, and then what I'm going to do to be different this year, like how I'm going to be disciplined, like what I need to focus on for 2026. And I did that for finance, family, health, work, delicate bad bitch, relationships, romance. Like I just put it all in there. Like what do I see this year? Travel. I've always got travel in there. And yeah, I mean, just like knowing what you want, because they always say if you don't know what you want or you don't know where you see yourself in 5 years, you're already there. And if you don't know what you want out of your year, you're going to blink and your year's going to be gone, right? And so being intentional and like knowing like, what do you want to be better at? Where do you want to grow? And for some people, this is overwhelming. You might listen to this and be like, this is too much. This feels like a lot. To me, this is joy. Like I love it. I'm like, yes, self bettering. Like, what can I do better? Like, let's elevate this year. Like, what did I do bad last year? What can I be better at? Let's change. Let's grow. Let's be happy. Let's be positive. Let's be forward thinking. Like, I love this stuff. But for some people, and I remember feeling this way after I got divorced, I probably didn't do any of this for 2 years after I got divorced, because to me, like if you go listen to my last podcast that's about getting divorced, my life was black. It went from all these dreams and plans as a family and a couple and whatever, to there's nothing. Like I couldn't even think about lunch the next day. And so this kind of stuff would be overwhelming to me. So you might be in a season of your life where maybe it's not the season you want to make these big elaborate goals. Maybe you're not in a season where you can travel or you can take vacations, or you're not in a season where you are in the mindset of doing these things, right? And so I would say, if that's how you feel toward this, then do it small. Think about where you're at right now. And if you're in a season like I was back then, I would still be reflective and think about what I wanted, but I wouldn't go all out and have all these things like to overwhelm myself. Because even last night when I was doing all this, I was like, I really go ham on New Year's. Like I have so many dreams and plans and I'm so excited, and it's like the best intentions. And then sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I put too much on my plate and I have too high expectations of myself, and then I like burn out, right? And so don't do that. Don't be like KK over here who's like tweaking out on the New Year high, like, right? Like maybe just think about, what can I do small? What's something little you can do to like start bringing yourself up the ladder, to start getting to a point where maybe next year you want to do these things and make bigger goals and dreams. Maybe your list is little things like, I want to walk the block every morning. Maybe your list is little things like, I want to hug my kids when they get out of bed every day instead of jumping straight into the day. Maybe your list is something like, I want to take 10 minutes to read a book before bed every night. Like just wholesome, wonderful little things in life. Like, what season are you in? Where do you want to be? It doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be beautiful, lovely things that build your life, right? Little and big. So just gauge where you're at, and don't let my extravagant, crazy New Year's psychoticness, great vocabulary, make you feel like yours isn't going to be good enough if you do this, because any version of what you want out of the year is good enough because it's yours. And you know what you need and what you want better than anybody else. And you know how you're going to help yourself get there. And if you don't, reach out to somebody, ask them to help, But that was another fun thing I chose this year, is I feel like the older I get, the dumber I get. And my vocabulary, I feel like I used to be so good at words. So good. I feel like Trump, so good at words. I knew the best words. And then I don't seem to know words anymore and I just make them up. But I swear it's a mixture of 4 kids getting older, working full time, getting divorced, and getting older. Like, I just think my brain is overloaded. And so things like a word that I've known for 33 years slips my mind. And then I just feel stupid. And so a very simple goal I made this year is learn a new word every day. And so I did download an app called Word of the Day, and it's going to give me 5 words a day, and it's going to teach me how to pronounce them and use them in a sentence. And I'm pretty hyped about it. I've already learned 3 words today. On the spot, I probably don't remember them, but I will as soon as I get off this podcast. So you might hear me using big, eloquent words throughout the year here on this podcast. My other goal is to do 2 podcasts a month, which I feel is a very achievable goal, and maybe it'll even turn into more than that. But the job I have now is not as demanding as my jobs in my previous life. And so I feel like I do have more time that I can dedicate to this, thinking about if I want to do the boutique or the life coaching or marketing consulting. Because I want DBB. If you watched my intro, like when I kicked this off, like, this vision that I have for it is still so big and exciting in my mind. It just isn't going to be as fast as I thought it was last year when I quit my job to pursue this. And I'm still just as excited about it as I was back then. It's just, it slowed down when I had to change. But now I changed again in July to this new role, and I'm really getting the hang of it and catching my groove. And I feel like I can put more time here. So my goodness, that's what happens when people over 30 stay up past midnight. Even though all I did was eat grapes under a table and go to bed. Here's where we're at. But I just want to encourage you guys, like, I know it sounds cliche, and I know it's like, oh yeah, new year, new me, like all those things, right? But at its core, this holiday is such a beautiful one. And if you just take it the way that you need it, if that makes sense, like, take this for what you need it to be. Do you need the joy and endorphins of cutting and pasting and making a vision board and hanging it in your room? Maybe for you, it's just a collage that's the background on your phone. Maybe it's writing it down in checklist form, or doing the sticky notes, or just having a word and it's just in your head and no projects are involved. You just have a word you want to live by this year. But I just encourage everybody, make the new year what you need it to be. Right? Take some time to reflect and decide, 2026, yes, life is in control. We are in control of ourselves, but we are not in control of our lives. That's the way I like to look at life, especially in the last 6 years. I can't control what life is going to throw me, but I can control what I do with what it throws me. And so I would encourage you guys to think about whatever 2026 is going to throw at you is going to be thrown at you whether you like it or not. But what you can do with yourself and what you can do with your life that you're in control over, why not just do it? Why wait? Why not just go after what you want? Why not work on yourself? Why not learn something new? Why not spend more time with the people you love the most? Why not spend time getting to know yourself better? Why not pick up a new hobby? Why not take the trip? Whatever it is for you, whatever you need it to be, why not? It's a new year. What do you need this year? What do you want this year? And then the last thing I'll say, that I did, and I love to do this, and I'll tell you the one story about how crazy it was, is little manifestation paragraphs. And it's writing out your life as if it's already happened. An example would be it is December 31st, 2026. I'm going to talk for somebody else, not myself. I married the love of my life and we have our first daughter on the way. We took a honeymoon to Bora Bora and it was amazing and I loved every second of it. I accomplished so many things this year that I never thought I would. I volunteered at this place and I, did this at work and got this award at work. And, I took my parents here and I finally got that car that I wanted, whatever. But you write it as if it's already happened. The first time somebody told me to do this, I was kind of like, like if I write it down, is it really going to like make a difference? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, why are we doing this? Whatever. But I'll tell you, the first time I can remember doing it, how crazy it was. Because then they'll tell you and then throw it in a drawer and don't think about it. I wrote down a few years ago. It is, I don't remember what the date said, but it was like it is July 2017 or 16. I'm pregnant with my first son. I took the kids to Disney World this year. And, you know, Tanner and I are, I think it was something about like where we were at financially, a couple of things we had accomplished. I'm not kidding you. I randomly found it and it had all happened. Like, I'm getting goosebumps. I was pregnant with our first son. We had gone to Disney World while I was pregnant with him. We had hit the goals that I had written down as if they had already happened. Like, it worked. And that's not the only time that's ever happened. Oh, we were building our dream house. It says something like we're building our dream house. We moved into it. Like, I might have even found this when we moved in, like going through boxes. But I was like, oh my gosh, it worked. And so last night I decided to write one. I wrote a whole page and I titled it, it is December 26th, oh my God. I titled it, it is December 31st, 2026. And I just went into what a year it's been. I put in there that I traveled with my friend. I put in there that I took the kids somewhere awesome. I put in there that I found peace and somebody who genuinely loves me. And I don't know, again, I get so up and down on how I feel about that sentence, but I put it in there and we'll see. And I also put in there, you know, just intimate stuff. Like, I really just wrote out my life as if it had already happened, like a journal entry. And I have to say, I'm pretty excited for December 31st, 2026, because I have a good feeling about this year. And I sometimes struggle because I have this like little curse where I speak that out and then horrible things happen. But I'm not even going to own that this year. I just want this year, and I just feel that this year is going to be different. And I don't know why yet. I don't know what it's going to be. I just feel some good big change is coming, like a really good one. Like, just, I don't know if it's like abundance in something, or if it's just love, or if it's just contentment. I really don't know. I just have this gut feeling that it's going to be a good year. And I would love to throw that out into the universe for everybody watching this too. Speak that into you. 2026 is going to be a good year. And I think it all starts with how we started off, right? So let's make 2026 the best we can. Let's start it off on the right foot. Let's be positive. Let's look forward. Again, I can promise you, there's going to be some really hard things this year. Bad things are going to happen. You're going to get hurt. You know, you might lose something. You might lose someone. I don't know. I do know that life, I always say life is like a heartbeat. It's got ups and it's got downs, right? But that's what makes it life, because otherwise you'd be a flatline. And we don't want to be a flatline, right? So you're going to have the downs to truly feel and experience the ups. But we can't control what's coming at us, but we can control what we're going to do with the time that we have here on this earth. And so what do we want to do with 2026? I would love it if you guys personally messaged me your goals, personally messaged me your words of the year. I love to see it. Comment it if you want to share it out loud with other people. If you want to manifest your little paragraph and put it under this video so we can all come back to it next year and read it, I would totally encourage it. I know we've always talked about having the DBB community. If you guys want to encourage each other and share anything for what you want in 2026 in the comments below, I will read and respond to every single one. If you want help coming up with something, feel free to message me and I can help you brainstorm. But again, despite some of this, like yesterday was supposed to be my 14th wedding anniversary. My anniversary was December 31st, ironically. And despite that, it's still my favorite day of the year. So let's just have a great year. So happy New Year, DBB community. And as always, I can't wait to see where this goes. Bye.